Hello friends. So we are now in the Renaissance. We saw that English not only English but the vernaculars, they had to face many problems, especially three. First is the problem of recognition, because in the background of the classical tradition, there is Latin and Greek used everywhere in Europe, and all the important works, esteemed poetry, philosophy, etc., written in Latin and Greek. So that's the background we saw, and we have somehow managed to solve that problem for English. Then the second problem is that of right writing or orthography. Right writing or orthography. Right writing. This is the word. This is how Mulcaster explains orthography. What is orthography? According to Mulcaster, it is right writing. Why right writing? That means there must have been wrong writing, isn't it? For example, as a word like fellow, F-E-L-L-O-W, F-E-L-O-W, F-E-L-L-O-W-E, F-A-L-O-W, F-A-L-L-O-W-E. See like this. Fellow, follow away, follow away, fellow away. See like that. So this is different ways of writing that, fellow, follow away and so on. So that means it is wrong writing. It was neither fixed nor phonetic. It was a subject of importance. It was a subject of much discussion. A subject of real importance and a subject of much discussion. What? The right writing. The question of right writing or the question of orthography. Well, this is the background. Another simple word you see, been. Been written like this. Been written like this. Been. So, and also been like this. See, different forms, same word. So it was a real problem. And others, some writers, they have their own system of spelling here. So, if you want to put it in one word, the spelling, the beginning of Renaissance, chaotic. It was bad. And people say it is bad even now. How can we say that? I do not know. So that's a different thing. And 5 reasons why you had to look into this problem. First reason is, neither it was phonetic nor fixed. English spelling was neither phonetic nor fixed. As we have already seen, the English spelling was, for a single word I showed you, how many different spellings are there. So it is not fixed. And second, if not phonetic. Phonetic means you read and write in the same way. English is not a phonetic language. English, opposite of phonetic, is unphonetic language. But Hindi, you can see, it's a phonetic language. Why? Because you write and read in the same way. You write ledka and then you read it also ledka. You don't write it ledka and read it as lodka or loka. No, like neighbor. See, you pronounce it, you write it in light, L-I-G-H-T, and then you pronounce it as light. See that? Knife. You write K-N-I-F-E. Then you pronounce it as not a knife but a knife. So this is not phonetic at all. That's one point. Secondly, the confusion caused by Norman scribers. Norman scribers. Scribers means writers. Scribers. As the Norman scribers, you remember, no? William de Normandy, the Battle of Hastings. He became King of England, and then England was flooded with French people, French language, French clergy and all those things, French, everywhere French. Right? So what happened is, these people did not know, they did not have a perfect knowledge or a grasp of English language. But they started writing. Therefore what happened? They created a lot of confusion. Understand? And then a third point is that English spelling, you can see that it was English spelling was spelling is fixed, but most of the words the pronunciation is changing. Spelling is fixed, for example. So you can say fixed spelling, certain words. Not all the words, but certain words, but change pronunciation. This happens even now. Change pronunciation. For example, we know satisfactory we said, but now it is satisfactory. Plumber, now it is plumber. So changing this. So but the spelling remains the same. Now here the same thing happened, in clean, for example, take this word clean, C-L-E-A. In Chaucer's time, it was pronounced like this. See, this is the pronunciation in Chaucer's time. Clay, clan, like lane. So clean in Chaucer's time was pronounced, Middle English was pronounced the clan. We clan this floor, there's clan. Like lane, L-A-N-E. But in Shakespeare's time it has changed to clean. See that? So what happened is, spelling remains the same, but pronunciation changes. So this is a problem. That's even now. It's not actually a problem, it is a kind of, I must say that it is a challenge, not a problem. Okay. Alright, so that's the third point to note, why it is a subject of importance, a subject of much discussion and of real importance. And the fourth point is, many of the words were taken directly from Latin. In the Latin original, there were some spellings. Those spellings were kept in English also. In Latin original, the spellings, all the letters were pronounced, because Latin is a phonetic language, like Hindi. See that? See, for example, Latin dubitum, dubitare, and debitum, two Latin words. You know the modern English word dubitare, that is doubt, to doubt. Debitum is debt, D-E-B-T. So what happens here is silent letters. See, in Latin it is pronounced. Why? Because it is phonetic language. All the letters are pronounced. But when it comes to English, you don't say debit or you don't say debit. If you go to a bank and say, please please issue a debit card to me. Sorry, debt, not debit, debt. See that? If you say what is the outstanding debit, then what is debit? Right? So it is debt. Because this B is silent. This B is also silent. Because the reason is, both these words are directly taken from Latin. In the Latin original, you have the B pronounced. But when it comes to English, it is silent. English is a very, English pronunciation is, you can see, it is for ease. English pronunciation is what I must say, clumsy, you cannot say clumsy, but anything that is, you feel like, it is not, it creates problem in the pronunciation. What they will do, English people will do, or English pronunciation is that all the problem letters will be kept silence. That's the thing. Problem letters will be. Like that and doubt and so on. If you say debut, then people won't even understand that. You got the point? Yeah. So the reason is that is Latin. So fourth reason for the confusion and chaos of English spelling, we can say Latin words. Latin words has a fourth reason, we can say. How have Latin words become a problem? Because in Latin is phonetic, but English is unphonetic. In Latin, all the letters are pronounced, but in English it is not. So they have got many. So then you have variations in them. Variable spellings. See, I have already seen variable, fellow. Variable spellings for the same word, fellow. You have got there and there. See that? Both these pronunciations, spellings you will find in early modern age or the early part of the nations. So these are 5 reasons why English spelling was a problem in the beginning of the Renaissance. Once again, spelling, when I start saying spelling, sometimes you will sit like this. You will think that it's a boring subject. But it's a boring but at the same time challenging. Anything that is difficult is a challenging task for us. For example, trekking is a difficult task, but it is challenging, like this. So you have 5 reasons. One is that the English spelling is neither phonetic nor fixed. Second is normal scribers who did not know properly the language, they introduced many confusions. Then English spelling is fixed but the pronunciation changes. And the Latin words created problems in the sense that Latin, all the letters are pronounced but not in English, and therefore there is silent letters. See the presence of silent letters in a word, and then you have got variable spellings of the same word. Understand? So these are the problems of it. But post the problem we can say these 5 what I have listed now, these 5 situations we can say caused the problem as far as English orthography or writing is concerned. This is why Lancaster says it is the right writing. So you have to have the correct writing. Right writing is correct writing. Understand? Now to add to this confusion, there were some authors, some writers, supposed to be great people those days. One is Sir John Chuck. He had his own, that the 6th point note. That is, authors writers had their own system of spelling. This is the 6th point note. 5 we have seen, this is the 6th. For example, there was a writer, a prominent man, Sir John Chuck. That was his name. Sir John Chuck. So he had a system of spelling. He doubles long vowels. For example, instead of take, he will write talk. Instead of hate, heart. And made, mad. See, talk, doubling. Then heart, that is doubling. And mad. Mad is instead of take, hate and made together. So doubles long vowels. His system doubling of long vowels. To indicate length of vowel, he would double it. Like we have got a film, Amne Samne. Amne Samne, that is sometime in 1970s, I think. That was, I forgot the actor and the actress, I think it was Shashi Kapoor was one. And there was another, that is those days, let's forget about that, I don't want to enter into all those things. Okay, then we have got me, we have got, words like mine, thine, written like this today. Mine, M-I-J. Mean, that is mine, and deen, that is thine. In those days, instead of I, some people use the J and pronounce it as ye, yeah, like that. So that's why mean, mine, and deen, thine, like that. Okay. Then second peculiarity about this gentleman is he discards finally. So instead of writing G-A-V, he writes give, like this. He says, what is the use of finally? Instead of writing believe, with E, he will say believe. This is. So discards final E. And the third feature of his spelling is, wherever there is Y, he would use I. For example, mighty, he would write like this, M-I-G-H-T-Y. But instead of that, his spelling is M-I-G-H-T-I. That's his peculiarity, you cannot help it. Those days he could day, for example. Instead of writing day like this, he would write die. So that is another another point that causes confusion. So writers had their own system of spelling. See that here is John Chuck. So what are his peculiarities? He doubles long vowels. Then secondly, he discards final E. And thirdly, he uses I for Y. M-I-G-H-T-Y, his spelling is M-I-G-H-T-I. That is. So that is the sixth point. So we have seen already 5, now this is the sixth point that caused the confusion. Understand? Confusion. Confusion gets confounded. I have already told you somewhere. And then Richard Hurst, there is another man. Richard Hurst. Writers had their own under this. Richard Hurst. He attempted a translation of Virgil's Aeneid. And he wanted to imitate the meter and the rhythm of Virgil's Aeneid as such in the translation. So what happens, he also did some tricks like this. He wrote like this, the, T-H-E-E instead of the, me instead of M-E. Now this is for counting the syllables. To imitate the meter of the Virgil's Aeneid. Anyhow, what happens is that, for some or the other reasons, it has created a confusion again for us. At the same time, you should not think that it was as bad as that. Because by the time of Shakespeare's time, the average man in England, he spelled fairly, the spelling habits, he had formed fairly good spelling habits. That is, when you leave Chaucer, that is Middle English, to early modern English, when you reach early modern English, that's Shakespeare's time, the average man, you can say, he had already formed fairly good spelling habits. Understand? Yes. So 6 points now. Why confusion? Why confusion? We have seen. First one is neither it was fixed nor phonetic. Secondly, Norman scribes. Third, spelling is fixed but the pronunciation changes. Fourth is insertion of silent letters because of Latin influence. And fifth is that the variable spellings, fellow, follow, fellow, been, like that. And sixth is you have got certain authors who have got their own way of spelling. Now what happened is that printers took advantage of this. Now proofreading. They say, it's because of these spelling habits of different people. Understand that? So they do not bother much about that. But at the same time, you must understand, Thomas North's Plutarch and Holinshed's Chronicles. See, two famous Plutarch, Thomas North. You have come across this, Plutarch. Plutarch and Holinshed. Holinshed was next to his Chronicles. You find that comparatively, reasonably fixed spelling and spelling habits you will find in these two great books of the Renaissance period. And it is said about Chronicle, the Elizabethan translator. He contributed as many words as Shakespeare contributed to English. When you take up makers of English, you have Chaucer as a maker of English, Shakespeare as a maker of English, and Bible translators as a maker of English. Maker of English means contributions that they made. Every author makes contributions to the language, to the growth and development of language, to the enrichment of language. Understand? So these people, then you will see that. So how they helped Holinshed and Thomas North in their translations, how they helped improve the spelling habits of the people, you can see. We should not think that things were left like this. English spelling was orphans. That we should not think. That there's nobody to take care of that. There are many attempts made by writers. For example, one attempt was made by exactly the author is not known. ABC for children. That's first attempt. ABC for children. That is to direct people, to guide people, you know. And in this case, what happens, you know, this author of ABC for children, he, according to him, he said, the final A should be used wherever there is the preceding vowel, wherever the preceding vowel is long. So his introduction was this, believe. See, this finally means this vowel is long, believe. Listen. Then leave. Leave, L-E-A-V-E. See this, again the vowel is long. So wherever the preceding vowel is long, there should be the final E. Many reforms were there, but this is one of them. Because we saw John Check, what happened is he discarded finally, so he wants to take it back and put it here. Understand? There is another author, another attempt, and this attempt was attempt at phonetic writing. Phonetic writing means they wanted to make the language like Latin. Latin is phonetic because you read and write in the same way. And his name was phonetic writing. The first person was Thomas Smith. Thomas Smith. That was his name, Thomas Smith. Attempting a phonetic writing. And he wrote a treatise, a dialogue concerning the correct and amended writing of the English language. A dialogue concerning the correct and a dialogue concerning the correct and amended writing of English language. And for this purpose, instead of 26 letters, he created 8 more. And he made it 34. So he said we should have 34 letters. One such a strange letter I will write here. For example, he advised that instead of TH, you can have something like this, a symbol like this. Can you see this? It is not used these days, so don't worry about it. So many attempts were made at phonetic writing. Phonetic writing means I write and read in the same way like Latin. The second attempt phonetic writing was made by John Hart. John Hart. That is the second person. Phonetic writing. It means read or write in the same way. John Hart. His name was John Hart. John Hart. And John Hart, he wrote a treatise. And that is, he wrote is an orthography. He wrote. And orthography. The spelling, of course, an orthography he wrote. But, and a third attempt was made. That's the thing. Not one or two, but third attempt. That was by William Blocker. William Blocker. That was made in 1584. Yes, 1584. And the title of his treatise was Book at Large for the amendment of Book at Large for the amendment of orthography for English speech. Book at large for the amendment of orthography for English speech. But the funny thing about it is that the public, they are not really apathetic, not sympathetic, but apathetic towards this move to reform English spelling according to the pronunciation, or to reform English spelling on the lines of phonetic writing suggested by these people. Phonetic writing by Thomas Smith, John Hart and William Locke. So what happens is that for some unknown reason, that even now, and even say in 19th and say end of 19th century towards the dawn of 20th century, there were many attempts like this to make it easy. Understand? But so for some unknown reason, the English people, they don't like to change the spelling habits and also pronunciation habits of the English language. Maybe it is, I think it is a kind of, it's a romance. If you get a word like in Latin, amo, everybody knows it is amo. Amo means I love. See that? Then suppose you have got a word in English like that, we don't know whether it is amo or amo or aimo. For example, ate. How can you pronounce it? How do you know the pronunciation before you really learn it? You cannot say ate. If you say, I ate my breakfast this morning, what will people understand? There has to be 8. You understand? So I think that there is some pleasure in this, some say keeping things in suspense. So you get a word, then spelling is there, but you don't know how to pronounce it. So a lot of people make mistakes also. Custom, I have heard people pronouncing it as costume. I am not exaggerating, this is a fact. YSCHT, for example, YSCHT. So if you are using a phonetic spelling, it will be yachet. But you know it is yacht. That is the pronunciation, yacht. Okay. So that's, I mean, one of the reasons why people resist this phonetic writing or reforming English spelling on phonetic lines is maybe it's because of this. Another very serious reason the scholars say is that now it is practically impossible to rewrite all the spellings on phonetic line. Because you have got millions of words. Even those days it was difficult. Because English borrowed right and left from Celtic, from Latin, from French, from Scandinavian, Latin many times. See? So there will have been confusion. Maybe it's one of the reasons for that. Anyway, we will not enter into that for the time being, but let's say like that. The problem of orthography was a real problem of real importance and the subject of much discussion. That we are taking. Because spelling, it was bad at that time. One word we can say. Just chaotic. And then we saw Harvard reasons why it was chaotic. And then we saw some reforms. Attempts made by writers for reforming it on phonetic line. And finally we saw that phonetic way of or phonetic writing is not accepted, or people don't give much importance, some acceptance to that. People are generally apathetic to that. Understand? So today this we have seen this morning, we discussed the 3 points. 4 points we can say. First one is the orthography, problem of orthography. Second is, Malcaster says it is right writing. Second, we saw that the reason also we saw fellow, follow, fall away and all the thing. Then second is the problem, actual problems, half a dozen reasons. Third, we saw the attempt at phonetic spelling and phonetic writing. And fourth, we saw generally there is the public reception to this proposal of phonetic spelling is very cold and not sympathetic. Up to that we saw. The remaining part of this lecture we will see in the next class. Till then, bye. Have a nice time. Enjoy it.